In this video, we are reacting and we're going to provide a little analysis to this PCDev video in regards to the big news the other day about all these price hikes coming to Disney World and Disneyland. PCDev made a fantastic video on this topic. We're going to watch the video, break it down, analyze it along the way. I got Citrus George, the Italiano, here to join me today up next on OG 55. Welcome aboard to another episode of OG 55. We are breaking down that PCDev video about the Disney price hikes. Fantastic video from PCDev. I want to give him a big shout out. I will be linking the full video down below in the description, so make sure you check it out. If you're not subscribed to PCDev, make sure you do so. He does amazing content. But, I want to introduce my fellow Italiano, Mr. Citrus George. Welcome back, sir.
Thank you for having me back on, and it's always great to shoot the shit with you.
Yeah, exactly. Shoot the shit. Let's do it. Where can they find you on social media?
Absolutely. You can find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Disney George. You could also find me on the podcast, A Walk with Walt. And, of course, you'll find me here on my home base at Orange Grove 55 with Citrus Corner, with all that sweet, juicy, but sometimes sticky Disney news and info.
Yeah, and make sure you follow him on all his socials. He does a lot of shit shooting over there, too. So it's pretty good. It's pretty good. All right, let's dive right into the topic at hand. Now, before we get started, because people love drama. People love the drama. George and I do these reaction videos. We've done them now to multiple content creators, and it's all in with love and respect. If we feature you on the channel and we analyze your videos, because we love your content. And people have this thing where it's like, oh, if you disagree with someone, hey, look, we're all adults here. We're all men. Like, we can handle disagreements. There are elements of this video that I don't know about George. I haven't really talked to him about the video yet, but there are elements of this video that I do disagree with. And that's okay, and that's part of the fun in this community, is kind of bouncing perspectives off each other and opinions and ideas, right? So I want to make that very clear that we love and respect PCDev. We love his content, and this is all out of love, and it's just about being nerds and analyzing this shit together, So I just want to make that very, very clear. Anything you want to add, George?
Yeah, and knowing Dev, and I think he even touches upon it at the end of the video, he likes to conversate. And he loves to hear from people, whether they agree with him or disagree with him, within reason. You always still want to be polite, kind, courteous,
Yes.
What have you. But he is one that loves to bring up topics that is a good conversational piece. And yeah. I could really appreciate that from him, because he is one that, no matter if you agree or disagree with somebody, you can still have a decent, civilized conversation.
Absolutely. So we're going to break this video down. And PCDev, if you ever want to come on the show and talk to us in person, you're always welcome on the channel, brother. Always welcome. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna click the play button. It's so awkward. I'm sorry. I don't know what else to say. I was like, okay, here we go.
Smash that play button.
I'm gonna smash that play button. Let's go.
Disney has once again increased their prices, but this time it's going to affect everyone and everything at the theme parks. Let me explain. I hope you guys are ready, because I am. Let's go do this.
Mr. PCDev.
His intro music is killer.
Smooth, man. Smooth. I like it.
So just to be transparent here before I get going, this is not the happiest news. Obviously, I'm not happy about it, just like many of you guys are not happy about it either. And there's just a lot that I want to say. I'm going to explain everything that's happening, and then I will more than likely be going on a bit of a rant here. So pretty much everything at Walt Disney World has increased in price, from food to beverages to parking, hotel rooms, tickets, annual passes, experiences. Everything has just about increased in price. And then over at Disneyland, prices are increasing as well. Starting off Walt Disney World annual pass prices have increased from $30 to $50 depending on the pass type. Here's the full breakdown. The Pixie Dust Pass is now $439. It was $399. The Pirate Pass is now $799. Was $749. The Sorcerer Pass.
Oh wait, real quick. I just want to say, I can't stand the names of the Walt Disney World annual passes. It's like the most generic Disney. Like, just what is that? The Pixie, the Pirate. It's just so generic, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I liked it when it was like, you know, you said like the silver pass, the gold pass, the premium pass. Just keep it like that. Like,
I know. It just seems kind of weird to me. And then like, I actually prefer like the branding of the Magic Key much more than this. I think that the key that Magic Key kind of branding kind of works for an annual pass. You kind of unlock, so to speak, you know, your access and all that. It kind of makes sense. It's kind of clean across the board. This stuff is all over the place. They got Incredibles, and then they got the Sorcerer Mickey, and then they got the Tinkerbell. It's just weird. It's really strange.
Is now $999. It was $969. And get this, the Incredi Pass is now $1,449, and it was $1,399. Of course, if you currently do have any of the Disney annual passes, you can renew at a discounted rate, but honestly, it's not by that much anymore. Some other price increases at Walt Disney World include Memory Maker. Advanced purchase is now $185. It was $169. Regular price during and post vacation is now $210, was $199. And then for a one-day Memory Maker, it is now $75. It was $69. Also, standard theme park parking has increased from $25 a day to $30 a day. And then the biggest one for me are the price increases in the theme parks, including bottled soda is now $4.99.
Okay, I want to stop it here because this is something that a lot of fans have sort of, you know, taken this price and they're like taken aback by the $4.99. Okay, now keep in mind, this might be different across the country or depending on where you go. But I just had lunch today with the one and only Mr. Theme Park Wizard. Wizard and I had lunch at our local mall. Okay, there's like a little, it's not really like a food court. It's more like it's like a social area with like little bars and food places, like little sushi joints and things like that. Really cool little spot, right? We went to this like chicken place, right? Literally, for his Sprite, it was $4.99. For his Sprite, his bottle of Sprite, the same exact bottles you see here, but a Sprite was $4.99. So this is a pretty standard price right now for these bottles. I get it. I mean, it's more than it was a few years ago, but there's a lot of elements outside of Disney's control with this kind of stuff too, with the inflation and things like that. And it's happening everywhere. So,
so it's not just Disney. That's where I agree with you. It's like to just call out Disney for these prices. It is everywhere. Even out here in Pennsylvania, there are places where you're almost paying $5 for a bottle. What I do agree with Dev in the sense is you're paying $5 for a bottle of soda or a Gatorade or a Powerade or whatever, and you just get that one and done. Where there's places where when you go into like a sit-down restaurant on Disney property or off Disney property, you're paying that same amount for a beverage, but you get free refills.
Right. And that's up to the consumer to make that call and make that smart decision. Hey, maybe we should hold off on the Coke until we get to the restaurant so we can get those refills, things like that, you know?
Yeah. So that's where I agree with Dev in that sense, where it's like, if you're going to pay for something and you're just going to get it one time, you know, why would then you pay that and then go sit down, pay the same price, and you can get unlimited free refills. Oh, yeah. And then, as I said, I agree with you in the notion where we can't just separate Disney from all other businesses because they're doing it as well. If you go over to Universal, I'm for sure a bottle of soda is the same price. You go to SeaWorld, it's probably the same price. You go to Knott's Berry Farm, Disneyland, you know, it's not just Disney World.
Right, 100%. I remember going to Vegas with my friends years and years ago. I'm talking a long time ago, dude. And it was like damn near $10 for one beer. And that was years ago, okay? Vegas is very expensive.
Well,
I mean,
Look what we paid off of the cruise of all the extra alcohol that we.
I know, right?
That shit adds up.
It adds up, dude. It really does.
I now have to pay $5 for a bottle of Coke. Water bottles have increased. Mickey Premium ice cream bars have increased. Popcorn, pretty much everything that you can think of, the price is now higher, including inside of the restaurant. So this is something to keep in mind. You will be paying a little bit more if you want to go have breakfast at Ohana, dinner at Be Our Guest. Just keep your eyes open for the prices. But wait, we do have some good news. Disney is bringing back something that the fans have been wanting for a very long time. And I find it funny that Disney announced this right before they announced all of the price hikes. Beginning on January the 9th, you can once again park hop whenever you want to. This is for all guests with a park hopper ticket or an annual pass. Finally,
can I ask you a quick question? What's the significance of January 9th? Like the last few years, Disney has made like changes, like since post COVID, where they opened up like more reservations, they opened up more hours during the park, and they always do it on the 9th of January.
That's interesting. I don't know necessarily know why the 9th, but like the first week of January, it makes sense because it's right after New Year's. So I can see why changes would take place like maybe that first week, because you're putting the holidays behind you. Now you're getting into kind of like the off season. Yeah, but the 9th specifically, I don't know. That is interesting. That's very interesting. Oh, and also I did want to say too, he mentions that Disney kind of sprinkled in the good news with the bad news, right? That is 100% a PR tactic on Disney's part. That is not an accident. They did that on purpose. Now, I don't really give a shit about that, to be honest with you. I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. But we do have to acknowledge, though, look, I mean, we as fans, we do get upset with the park hopping stuff, the reservations, and this, that, and the other. We have to acknowledge when Disney actually listens. They're listening. Right. Like he said in this, that we wanted this forever. And we got it. So let's celebrate the little stuff, or even this is kind of a big thing, to be honest, but let's celebrate the wins too, because it's easy to kind of be focused in on the negative and the losses when, okay, we fucking won in this whole thing too, in terms of these park hoppers. Like, that's good news. Let's celebrate the stuff that we can celebrate, right?
And honestly, I feel like Disney, as a PR move tactic, I think Disney should continue to do that. I feel like that if they're going to add price hikes to a bunch of stuff, that they should sprinkle, as Dev points out, some positivity. Maybe then it'll be a lower blow to the price. So like maybe the next time, again, maybe they could add back in the Magical Express, or maybe they can add in, or they just also did the dining plan,
right?
So I could see where the price hikes, people can get upset. But as you said, OG, I feel like with that tactic, it is a smart move on Disney's part to throw in some of the positivity with the not so good.
Yeah, it's a PR tactic. It's totally PR. It takes your eye off the ball a little bit, right? Because people are going to focus on this now. So it's a PR thing. But at the end of the day, like, we're all, like you, myself, PCDev, anyone watching this channel, we're all super nerds with this stuff. So it's not getting past us. We're gonna get all the news anyway. But for the normies, that stuff might get buried in there. They might not be as privy to it because they're not watching it as closely. So very, very smart on Disney's part, whether you agree with the price hikes or not.
Correct.
Let's quickly talk about the price increases that are currently happening at the Disneyland resorts. I'm not going to spend too much time talking about the price increases over there because I mainly talk about the East Coast here at Walt Disney World, but I do travel over to Disneyland a few times a year, and they are getting hit hard with the price increases.
Oh, man. Oh, dude. Come on, StreamYard.
Magic Key prices are increasing from $50 to $150 depending on the pass type that you have. New sales remain paused, but renewals are ongoing. The Imagine Pass is now $4.99. It was $4.49. The Enchant Pass is now $8.49. It was $6.99. The Believe Pass is now $12.49. it was $10.99, and the Inspire Pass is now $1,649, and it was $15.99. And then all of the tiers for a one-day ticket to Disneyland have increased, as well as all multi-day tickets and the Park Hopper add-on have all increased in price. So let's just say if I wanted to visit Disneyland for one day only on a busy day, which is tier 6, their busiest tier, the old price was $179 and the new price is now $194. And then let's just say if I wanted to visit the Disneyland Resort for 5 days, the old price was $415 and the new price is now $480. But then if I wanted to add the Park Hopper for 5 days, the old price was $60. Now the new price is $75 per day per person. Oh my goodness. All right, there's a lot to unpack here, and there's a lot that I want to say. Before I get into it, I guess I just wanted to quickly mention before I get those few comments down in the comment section, Dev, you're just a hater. You just hate Disney. No, I don't hate Disney.
Okay, here's the thing, and this bothers me, and it bothers me on both ends of the spectrum here, right? This guy loves Disney. You could tell. Okay, he's very passionate about it.
Passionate, yes.
Right, and you're going to see that passion come out in this upcoming rant. There is a way when fans criticize Disney, there's nothing wrong with that. That doesn't make you a hater. Okay, now a hater for me is someone who roots for the company to fail. That's a fucking hater. This guy is just mad. As a customer of Disney,
he's frustrated.
He's frustrated. And I understand that. We may disagree on some things in this video, but he's a fan. He loves this company. That's why there's so much passion. So he's not a hater. He's not rooting for the company to fail. He's not wishing their downfall. None of that bullshit, okay? So it's not right to call this man a hater just because he has criticisms. Equally, on the other side of the coin, if I get on a video or you or PCDev gets on a video and praises the company for something, it's not fair to call us pixie dusters. Oh, you're a fucking pixie duster shill. No, come on. We all have our opinions, and it's okay to have those opinions. It's really, I just hate this kind of like team mentality that people have now, where it's like it's like
you're either it's either like you are a pixie duster kiss ass to the company, or you're just you downgraded yourself to hate Disney completely, and that's not always the case.
No, you're not. It's not just down to like pixie duster or like full on Disney derangement syndrome. There's gray area here, and people, just I can't stand that. We did a video on that actually with I think it was Matthew Murr a few weeks ago. Drives us nuts.
I don't agree with the direction they're clearly going in. I've been calling Disney out on their BS since 2021, which got me kicked off of the Disney media list because I tell it how it is, because I speak for the thousands of people, if not the millions of people who can no longer visit Walt Disney World because they are now priced out.
Yeah. Okay, so I wanted to add something to that.
Sure.
First off, I commend Dev to actually get on the video and literally talk to YouTube and the fans to say, you know what, I am no longer on Disney's list for any kind of social media promotion or gathering or event, due to the fact that he is telling it like it is and he's telling his frustration. I commend him on that, first thing. Second of all, that is where I feel like Disney is a little bit in the wrong. I feel like it shouldn't always have to be about the positivity that you have to kiss the company's ass in order to promote something. You don't always have to love everything that the company does in order to still go to a special event or to be invited to something. You should be able to still speak your opinion respectfully. Now, if he was downgrading the company and in an unhealthy manner, then I can understand. But I disagree to the notion that I don't feel like Disney should have kicked him off completely because he is stating his opinion of some of the choices that the company is choosing to go.
Well, yeah, this gentleman, PC is always respectful. He's not like, he's not out there, like, so I agree with you. They shouldn't have kicked him off, but I've heard mixed things about that. Like I've heard like John Campea, he doesn't do theme park news, but he reports on a lot of Disney studio stuff, and Disney invites him to the premieres all the time for the Star Wars movies, Marvel movies, whatever it is. Right. Mm-hmm. And he said on his show that it's kind of like over exaggerated how much Disney cares if you love or hate their product, as long as you do it respectfully. Now, this is just what John Campea said. And it might be different for the theme parks, because that theme park media list might be run by different people than the studio stuff. But Campea was saying with the studio stuff, he's given Disney movies negative reviews all the time, and he's always been on the list. So it might just depend. So I've heard mixed things, so I don't really know. But again, Dev doesn't report on the studio side, so it might be a completely different person or group that determines that for him compared to that of John Campea. Yeah. So I've heard mixed things both ways.
Because Disney wants to consistently increase prices. Multiple times a year, Disney will increase prices, and people are sick and tired of the nickel and diming, and so am I. The price for this IncrediPass is just outrageous. I'm definitely going to be dropping tears when it's time to renew next year, because it's not worth that price to me to visit, because I rarely go to the parks anymore. I'm not going to talk about the...
Okay, here is where I start to, I don't really disagree with him, but I get a little frustrated because, and here we go. This is a classic OG right here, okay?
Yep.
This is the thing. Back in April, Universal hiked their annual passes up a lot, okay? A lot. And I think I was probably the only content creator on YouTube that made a video about it. I didn't hear anything about it on Twitter, nothing. I'm going to show you guys. And it wasn't a little thing either. Okay, we're talking significant. Comcast, this is back in April. Comcast Universal Orlando raised the prices of some of its annual passes by as much as 23% on Thursday. 23%. That's massive. We go on here to say, look at this. Disney's priciest annual pass is still more expensive than Universal's Premier Pass. Okay, so Disney's still more expensive, which now retails for $904.99 plus tax. Disney World IncrediPass is $13.99. Now, obviously, that's gone up recently, cover charge. But it also includes twice as many theme parks as Comcast Universal. So that's also something that I think fans need to put in the equation here. When you have Universal and the price tag for those passes, they may be cheaper, but they have half the amount of parks that Disney has. So you have to factor that in.
And also have to take into the factor that Universal has more thrill rides than Disney. Disney has more rides and attractions that can appease to everybody, where Universal leans more towards those thrill seekers. The age range between like maybe 12, 13 to like the 20s, the 30s. As you had mentioned how many times on this channel, OG, you're not going to take a toddler to Universal. You're not going to take your 80-some-year-old grandparents to Universal.
Right.
So it's like, so to pay a higher end premium to somebody with a pass to Universal that may not ride, if you don't ride those thrill rides, it's very hard to actually find something to do at Universal.
Right. You're not going to get the value. Like someone like me isn't going to find a huge amount of value at a lot of the Universal stuff just because they have I shouldn't say Universal, because Hollywood is actually a different animal. But the Orlando parks have a lot of roller coasters and stuff. And I'm not that guy. I'm not a thrill person. So if I lived out there, I don't know if I would get a Universal annual pass. I have a Universal Hollywood pass, but we don't have all those crazy coasters out here like they do over there. I don't know, for me personally, if I would get enough value out of a Universal annual pass out there for that price. If I can't, like you said, if I can't ride half the shit, I'm not going to go on Hulk. Are you crazy? I'm not going on Velocicoaster. I'm not come on now, it's nuts. But I just wanted to bring that up because this is what bothers me, is that every time Disney raises prices, it's this big fervor, and rightfully so. I'm not saying that fans can't complain. They can. If you're mad about it, Cool. You have every right to be.
But when Universal makes that same move, why is it crickets?
It's crickets. Back in April, I'm telling you right now, I couldn't find anybody else searching YouTube that made a video about those Universal hikes. And it wasn't small hikes. They were big hikes, very big, like 23% for those passes. And no one said a word. Disney did it, and it's, oh my God.
Well, of course, and one else is going to do it, OG. I mean, you have to think you're the OG pixie duster here.
I know, exactly.
The resorts, because we do like going to the Disney resorts just to walk around and eat and just enjoy being at a Disney resort. So I'm going to keep the resorts out of this topic. But when it comes to the parks, I really don't go anymore because it's hard to be a Disney fan for the last few years because of everything that the Walt Disney Company is deciding to do right now, from Bob Iger to Bob Chapek. I feel like they both are the cause of this behavior right now from the company. And I don't understand why they are punishing the theme parks, because let's be honest here, the theme parks are the only thing in this business that is making the Walt Disney Company money.
So he kind of answers his question, like, okay, he says that Disney's punishing the theme parks. I don't necessarily think it's punishing the theme parks. He says that he sees the situation. I mean, he understands that, like, literally the other divisions of the company are not making money.
Correct.
Okay, so the theme parks are carrying everything on their shoulders. So it makes sense why they would focus on the parks and try to get as much money out of the theme parks that they can, because nothing else is making money. So you have to. It's either you do that or you don't have a Walt Disney Company. So, what else? The studio isn't making money. The movies are tanking. Disney Plus isn't expected to make any money until 2024. So what are you going to do? The linear TV is dying on the vine.
Yeah.
So you have to do that. It's not like Disney's going, you know what? We're going to punish them. We're going to punish the theme park. It's not that. It's just that you have to offset those losses from every other division somehow. And we all love the Walt Disney Company. We all want this company to survive. It might not if they don't make these moves to keep this thing afloat. I mean, these are tough decisions. They suck, but they're necessary in order to keep the company going. What do you think, George?
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think it's like you have to kind of what's the saying? How does it go? You have to rob Peter to pay Paul. It's
right.
Like you have to kind of pick and choose your battles. And unfortunately, if Disney has to make the tough decision to raise prices to keep the company afloat, because, as you had mentioned, the studio side's not doing very well. Linear TV is basically an old dinosaur. It's about to go extinct. The streaming service is, not up to par at the moment. So when you crunch those numbers and you have to break it down, then yeah, sometimes you then have to take something out of one of those other sectors of the company and kind of infuse it into the one park that is actually making you money, which is the parks right now, which means that people are somewhat vulnerable to the notion of, we're still going to go to the parks. So why wouldn't Disney want to capitalize on that? Make as much money as you possibly can. At the end of the day, it's a business.
It's a business. It's a business, and it's not going to be there if they're not making money. So I get it. I don't want to pay high prices either. I'm not stupid. I don't want to pay higher prices, but you have to see it from their perspective as well. When everything else is in the gutter, you have to offset that loss somehow. And it's never fun, but it's the reality of business.
Disney Plus sucks. They're not making the company any money. Although I did really enjoy watching Ahsoka. I'm enjoying watching Loki season 2. They have had a few things that have been good on Disney Plus, like The Mandalorian, even though season 3 of The Mandalorian wasn't really that good. But still, they have a few hits, but Disney Plus is still not making the company any money. And their decision-making when it comes to their big blockbuster movies, well, how has it been working for you Bob Iger and the Walt Disney Company. We're to the point where we don't even know which direction Marvel is heading into.
Can you pause that really quick?
We don't have any idea.
I will give it to him because this is the one vlogger, actually, other than us two, that it's always okay. It's Disney. It's Disney. But when Chapek was in, oh, it's Chapek. I actually give him props that he actually said Iger.
Right.
Iger and the Walt Disney. He's actually calling out Iger that, he has responsibility of this matter too.
Yeah.
It wasn't just Chapek.
No, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Bob Iger is the CEO right now. So the buck stops there with him, just like, with Bob Chapek. I mean, that's the thing. You have to put it. A lot of fans get involved in this like personality contest, right? Where it's like they let things slide for one guy because they like him, but the other guy, it's like no mercy. Like fans were ridiculous with Bob Chapek. Everything under the sun was his fault. It didn't matter if it was park, studio, the smallest thing. If a trash can was overflowing at the park, it was Chapek. Everything was.
And they never
Chapek.
Said Disney. They never said Disney. They said Chapek.
Yeah, he was the.
Now they say Disney. Why? Because they can't say Iger.
Yeah, and that's changing a little bit. I think a lot of people are starting to get frustrated with Bob Iger. Yeah. But you're right, though. The bald man bad Chapek crap drove me nuts. Was he my preference? Would I have made him a CEO? Hell no. I think he didn't do a great job, but the way that fans over-exaggerated how bad he was really ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we kind of sort of have a little bit of an idea of where the Star Wars franchise could go thanks to Dave Filoni and his team. We now have an exciting time where if Disney gives Dave Filoni the money that he needs to take Star Wars to new levels where it's never been before, you guys have a shot to make a good amount of money, especially with this Thrawn trilogy that I've been hearing. I hope that happens because that could really save the Star Wars franchise. But I'm to the point where I feel like Disney, they need to sell off Marvel and they need to sell off Star Wars.
Yeah, see, I disagree with him on this.
I disagree with that. I disagree with that one.
Yeah, because what he goes on to say here. Let me finish the end of this sentence, and I'm gonna respond.
Because Disney, you have ruined those two franchises.
Okay, I respectfully disagree with PCDev on that. Disney hasn't ruined. Look, right now there is a downturn. Okay, I'm not like the MCU right now is not in a great spot, right? Star Wars is a little more of a mixed bag for me, to be honest, because some of the shows have actually been pretty decent. But regardless, these are two powerhouse IPs. Okay, Star Wars is massive; it's a sleeping giant, and so is Marvel. Marvel's massive. Now, to say that Disney ruined Marvel, I mean, Marvel has never been Disney shot Marvel through to the moon with popularity with the MCU. Like, yes, you're going through a downturn right now, but it's still like Disney did a lot of great things for so many years with that franchise. And I think even the Star Wars stuff, there's a lot of good like nuggets, like gems in there as well, like Grogu, for example. Disney's made a mint on fucking Baby Yoda and stuff, and he even said Mandalorian and stuff. So they haven't ruined these franchises. Now it is going through a little bit of a slump, okay, but we can fix that with proper leadership and studio chiefs and new directions. I don't think you throw the baby out with the bathwater. What are you going to do? You're going to sell Star Wars, and then what happens when you sell Star Wars? Now you have to pay another company licensing fees to have Star Wars in your parks. Same with Marvel. You sell Marvel, and now you're writing some other company a check to have Avengers Campus at Disneyland.
That's what the problem they're having with Universal right now, that have the rights to that's east to the Mississippi River. So if you then take it away completely, then you're going to be dealing with Universal, and as you said, whoever else then would purchase Marvel, because up to that point, The Amazing Adventures of Spider-Man at Islands of Adventure was one of the greatest, if not, it's still a great attraction, but like in the early 2000s, it was like titled the best theme park attraction. But it was only utilized that land as the comic books of Marvel, where anytime that they would try to do something of the movies, it was kind of like a hit or miss, sort of like how they did with the Hulk or what was the other one? Daredevil, Blade. They were like not huge hitter. When Disney then took on, taking on Marvel where Jon Favreau was in the picture, Kevin Feige,
Right.
with Iron Man and Captain America. Then it started to propel that whole franchise, and
Right.
and I can't foresee another company other than Disney that would have got Marvel to the point that it is today.
Right. And yeah, and you don't want to look, and this is my biggest criticism with Universal. They do a lot of renting and not a lot of owning. And what I mean by that is that a lot of the biggest stuff in their parks, they don't own it. They don't own Harry Potter. They don't own Nintendo. The biggest properties, they're renting those properties out. I don't want Disney to get into that whole mess where they're renting these properties, where they're giving they're writing a check for the licensing fees to some other company to use Star Wars and Marvel and everything else.
Because guess what? If they do that, it's going to cost Disney money. If it costs Disney money, what are they going to do? Up goes the prices. Why? They have to make a profit back.
Right, exactly.
Ruined. Also, I want to say, Universal, I really hope you guys are watching this video right now, because whatever you're doing, keep it up. And I really want you guys to charge nothing for parking. It should be $0 to park at any theme park. But Universal, please do it first. Please stop charging people to park at your theme parks. Maybe add it in the price of...
Okay, really quick. When he says the comment that no theme park should charge for parking, I remember back in the 90s, it was still charged for parking.
Yeah.
To go. Like, that'll never change.
No, it's not.
You can go to a local zoo and you have to pay for parking.
Right. And he goes here. Let me have him finish this thought, and then I'll come back.
Yeah.
Admission, that's fair, but you shouldn't have to pay anything to park at a theme park. So I really hope Universal,
hold on,
just drop at your theme parks. Maybe add it in the price of admission. That's fair, but you shouldn't have to pay anything to park at a theme park. So,
okay. So here's where I respectfully disagree. It's like, okay, so he's saying don't charge for parking, but you can add it to the price of admission. That's fair. Well, then you're charging for parking. You're just moving it into into your ticket.
Yeah, you're still paying for it. And then when that ticket price goes up higher because of parking, then you can then have the same argument. Well, the tickets just got raised. Right. How much? Just like Disney raised theirs.
Right. So look, every company charges, and out here, I don't know how it is in Orlando, the Disney parking and the Universal parking is very comparable in price. Universal isn't any cheaper when it comes to the parking. They're not doing anyone a solid out here. They're charging Disney prices in the parking structures over there, So, and here's the other thing too. I'm gonna share a video from about 11 months ago from OG55. Okay, I'm gonna make a little point. I'm gonna share the video. We'll get back to PCDev in just a second. Okay, there is this argument that I've seen on Twitter, that I've seen from other content creators, not PCDev, but other content creators or what have you, where if you call out Universal for their price hikes, the argument that they'll say is, well, okay, fine, yes, Universal is egregious sometimes with their price hikes, but I forgive them because they're investing in their parks. We're getting Epic Universe and this, that, and the other. I am telling you right now, I'm going to play this video. I am telling you right now, it does not matter how much Disney invests in their parks. The price hikes will never be popular with fans, and they will still complain. I'm going to play this video. OG has the receipts. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. Here we go. I want to show everybody. I want to show you guys and gals some tweets. Just a handful of tweets from a long time ago. Okay? From a long time ago. Okay, and I blocked out the names. I'm not trying to call anybody out or anything. That the people who made the tweets aren't really the point here. It's more or less just the tweets, right? So we can go down and read these tweets. I hope the price hike was the real reason why he didn't want to renew his pass. The next one says the premium AP price hike is outrageous. The next one says exactly. This AP price hike is unheard of, $150 in one fell swoop. And the last tweet says, not this obscene price hike. It's greedy and disgusting how they're treating loyal customers. Now, that last one's interesting, isn't it? Look at the date on that last one. May 18th, 2012. Actually, all of these tweets are from 2012. You could take that last tweet about how they treat loyal customers, and you can just about apply that to just about any tweet right now going on in the community in regards to the latest price hikes. It goes to show you just how much the fandom has not changed in a decade, okay? But my overall point here is that it doesn't really seem, the issue is that it doesn't really seem like big investments detour the fan complaining, right? Because if you look at these dates, May 18, 2012, well, this is only a month away from the grand reopening of $1 billion investment at DCA. The ink isn't even dry on the check for $1 billion to completely, basically bulldoze and rebuild DCA. Okay, with Buena Vista Street, Cars Land, World of Color, that whole thing. This is a month away from that opening. And we're still complaining just a month away that the price hikes are outrageous. Well, wait a minute, OG. I thought that, fans wouldn't complain. As long as we get big investments, quality investments, these increases don't matter. Fans will understand. See, it doesn't really matter. Fans will complain regardless, whether Disney spends $1 billion, $4 billion, $1 trillion, it doesn't matter. Fans are going to be upset over the price increases, and to try to justify it with, well, if only Disney did this, well, if only Disney did that, I think it's kind of nonsense in my humble opinion. I respectfully disagree with that narrative because I've been in the community a real long time, and that doesn't seem to pan out. It really doesn't. The complaining happens regardless of what Disney is adding or not adding in the park. Okay, so I just wanted to bring that. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you did because it does make a good point. And before I actually respond to that, a couple things. One, check you out, Eminem, with all your swag.
With my hat, right?
Yeah. And then, I agree with you. I agree with you then, and I agree with you now, the past OG and the present OG. Because it does. If people were griping 1 month practically to the day when DCA 2.0 went online, and not even just with that was also the time that New Fantasyland was opening up at Walt Disney World. And a year ago from that is when they made the announcement for Avatar coming to Animal Kingdom.
Right.
So you put all that together, and yeah, I agree with you. It's like, then it has nothing to do with any kind of capital investment for Disney.
Doesn't matter.
It's just used as an excuse of Universal, just so they don't share the same negativity as Disney.
They just, yeah, exactly. It's a justification. Oh, they're building Epic Universe, therefore their price hikes are justified. Baloney. Absolute baloney. I just showed the receipts. No one has that justification with Disney. It doesn't matter what they build. People are still pissed off. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with being pissed off. But hold the same level of anger when you see 23% increases in annual passes over at Universal. Instead, it's like I'm the only one fucking talking, or us here on the channel are the only one fucking talking about that. No one talks about the Universal hikes. And here's the other thing too. It's very important. I understand there is the desire to send Disney a message by supporting Universal to light a fire under Disney's ass. That's fantastic. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, you can't ignore and let Universal get away with murder just because you want to send Disney a message. You know, the Comcast Universal CEO and all their executives are probably laughing their asses off. They're thinking, oh my God, we can do anything. These fans will just applaud us like happy seals. It'll be all good. And no, and they don't call us out for fucking anything. Yeah. As fans, you should be calling Universal out too. I get it. They're the competition. You want to send Disney a message, but you can't turn a blind eye though to them just because of that.
Competition is healthy. It's good. It keeps you on your toes. And Disney needs that.
Yes.
But at the same time, as you said, what's good for the goose is good for the gander.
Yeah, and it doesn't do Universal any good if you just accept everything they do. The price hikes over there have been egregious. They have been just as greedy. Comcast is a multinational corporation. They're not a mom and pop shop. They are just as greedy and every bit as big as the Mouse House. So call them out like you should. Now, you should also celebrate Universal's wins. You should applaud them when they make really great products and they're expanding their parks and their resorts.
I'm sorry. Real quick, OG, you froze up when you said mom and pop shop. So whatever you just said, if you can, repeat.
Yeah, they're not a mom and pop. They're not a mom and pop shop. They are a mega corporation, and they should be called out if they fuck up. And they should also be applauded when they do well. When they expand their resorts and they expand their theme parks and they invest, they should be rewarded. But we can't turn a blind eye to them just because, hey, I want to send Disney a message. You're not sending Disney a message with that. What you're doing is you're sending a message to Universal saying, you can do whatever the fuck you want. We're not going to say a word. And that's not a good message to be sending them.
Correct.
At all.
So I really hope Universal just drop the price for a little bit or drop it for good just to stick it to Disney just a little bit. Because I guarantee you, Universal, you drop the price to park and maybe you bring a shuttle service or a bus service that may pick up guests at the airport to take them to your resorts. I guarantee you, Universal, if you do those two things, you will have bags of money from...
Hold on. He said money, George.
He said it. Yeah.
Here we go.
Brand new money, brand new hundreds, got a bunch of zeros like a bag of new Funyuns.
There we go. When you say money on this channel, that's what you get.
The Disney guest who can no longer afford to enjoy Disney. Because you know what? For the past few years, people have been coming to Universal.
Can you pause that real quick? I'm sorry. I just have to say, I agree with the notion of Disney. That was a complete blunder of a decision for them to remove the Magical Express.
Yeah,
I do agree with him on that.
Huge mistake.
But to kind of emphasize to say they would get bags of money, that people would stop going to the parks just for those two specific reasons of dropping parking and adding a shuttle, that's not going to stop people from going to Disney and making them go over to Universal, where all that money is going to go directly to Universal at opposite of Disney. I'm sorry, it's just not.
Well, and you brought it up earlier, George. The problem with Universal, is that they don't have a diversified enough roster of attractions. If you're a grandma or elderly, or if you're a 4 or 5 year old or whatever, or you're not a thrill junkie, there's not a whole lot of value in these Universal parks. And people think, well, Epic Universe is the same demographic as the other two fucking parks. It's all roller coasters and things that throw you around. Yes, there's some kiddie stuff in there, just like there's some kiddie stuff over at Island of Adventure. But for the most part, it's the same demographic. They're not moving the needle at all with this new park in terms of demographic. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Like so if they had a separate land, sort of like how they have the Secret Life of Pets over at Universal Hollywood, where if they have like a whole slew full of like dark rides, then you can then have the argument to say, okay, now they're kind of appeasing to the different levels of the age bracket. But Universal doesn't really have that. I mean, they may have 1 or 2 attractions, over at Seuss Landing, but then you're going to pay $100 just for that. I don't know. You're not banking your value on that.
Right.
Disney. Because you know what? For the past few years, people have been coming to Universal. And I've been saying for a long time, Universal is the place to be. And ladies and gentlemen, when Epic Universe opens in 2025, the game will be over.
You want to know the fastest way to make passive income?
Hold on, everybody.
First, go to Alibaba, where you can buy this jewelry.
Universal will be on top. They already are on top. But
okay, I respectfully disagree. I do not believe 2 points here. Okay, I do not believe Universal will be on top. I think what he means by on top, I would assume, is attendance. Right? There's no way. Look, they're not going to beat the Magic Kingdom. They're not.
I was just going to say the Magic Kingdom has been number 1 for God knows how long. I don't think any park has ever dethroned Magic Kingdom.
They're not going to dethrone it anytime soon. They might eventually, but it's not going to be in 2025, number 1. And number 2, I'm not so sure about the success of Epic Universe. Look, I think the park itself will be busy because it's the shiny new object. Absolutely. But I've said many times on this channel, there's a huge possibility of cannibalization of the other parks. You have Epic Universe, which is opening, which will probably be pretty cool. And you have Osmo Adventure, but you have the weaker studio park, which has been struggling. There's I think personally, in my humble opinion, a strong likelihood that when Epic comes online, that studio park is they're gonna see a drop in attendance because people might make the decision, hey, you know what, we can skip that one and we'll do the other two.
And I'll even go a step further. It may even do a little bit of damage in the sense of number-wise, even to Islands of Adventure, because when you look at the Disney parks, you can distinctly tell they have an overall different theme to them. Right. Epcot has a feel. Animal Kingdom has a feel. Magic Kingdom has a feel. Hollywood Studios has a feel. And I'll even go over to Disneyland. Disneyland has a feel. Disney California Adventure has a feel. I'm sorry, of what they are describing Epic Universe is going to be, I don't see any much of a difference of how it is over at Islands of Adventure.
No, it's the same theme or it's the same thing, the same concept. It feels the same. And look, I get it. I mean, people have complained of that kind of seeping into Disney, and there's a fair argument there. But I just went to Walt Disney World back in July. Epcot is very different from Magic Kingdom, and Magic Kingdom is very different from Hollywood Studios. These parks, while there might be some I think it's homogenization. I think that's the word for it. I'm not really sure.
So, yeah.
But there might be some of that there seeping into the Disney stuff, but they still right now hold individual personalities. Animal Kingdom is very different from Magic Kingdom. And these are very different identities. Epic Universe feels like the same thing as Island of Adventure. It's the same. It could easily be Island Adventure 2.0.
Yeah.
Why not? I mean,
so if it's going to have the popularity because it's brand spanking new, and then you're going to have Islands of Adventure that's going to have kind of the same thing, but people are so used to it, right? It's an older park.
It's not even, and not only is it similar in concept, it even has the same IP, which is Harry Potter, in that park too. It's very, very similar.
But they are going to be standing alone at the top of the mountain if Disney does not get their act together. This is outrageous how much money that company is charging their guests, their fans of the theme parks, the fans that are only keeping the theme park standing because of us, the fans who truly enjoy going to Disney. But this company that I've seen it turn into, it's not it. And I have to go in my comment section and I have to read all the stories that people are leaving, how they can't come to Disney anymore because they are priced out. It's too expensive. Well, if you guys can't see the direction Disney is going, they only want to appeal to the rich because they want their parks not to be packed. They want this just to be a wealthy experience. Well, go ahead. Go ahead. I love the cast members. I'm not talking about the cast members because you guys are the ones who keep the magic alive and you keep the magic going. So I'm not talking about cast members, but even the last few times I went out to Disneyland, it hasn't been magical like it usually is because it's overcrowded. It's too expensive. You buy Disney Genie Plus.
Okay. Couple things. I do agree with him with the cast members. For the most part,
Tour guide Jackie. Shout out to tour guide Jackie.
I was going there. We had that same thing going. You kind of have some in the weeds there, here and there, but you'll have that anywhere. But for the most part, the cast members are great. I do agree with him when he was saying that, with when is enough that it's going to hit your cap. Especially if you have a family, if you have a family of 4 kids or 3 kids even, you want to take them, create new memories, show them the memories that you had as a child. You want to continue that, that tradition. And so is it only really going to, eventually be for the people who have more money? I do think in the long run that Disney does want to have that control. Right. to not like overcrowd the park, because there was a time where people were saying there is too many people in the parks. It was shoulder to shoulder. We can't move. We can't do this. We can't do that. And quite frankly, and I know I'm gonna try to word myself correctly. If you have something too cheap, you tend to get those crowds that you really don't want to have in your theme parks. You start getting the loiters. You start getting, and when I mean by loiters, I don't mean by the everyday annual pass holder or magic key holder that just want to go in. I'm talking about the people that pay very cheaply at prices just to kind of hang around and cause trouble. Because I have seen that done in a lot of amusement parks and a lot of theme parks that have cheaply priced tickets because they can afford it, you know. So, and I'm not saying now, I'm not saying for the people that can't afford it, I am not putting them in that category. I'm saying that there are people that if you have it open to everybody, you're gonna get everybody.
Yeah, well, and here's the thing too. What he poses the question: when is this going to stop? Right? And then he also mentions he goes to these places and they're packed. Well, there's your answer. They're still packed. So a lot of people can still afford it.
Yes,
he says it right here in the video. The park is packed. So there obviously. I mean, it's not just for the rich right now. So obviously we haven't met the threshold yet because they're still very, very busy. Right. So,
and can you go back just a little bit? He says one more other thing I wanted to address, and I can't remember what it was.
Sure.
Because you guys are the ones who keep the magic alive and you keep the magic going. So I'm not talking about cast members, but even the last few times I went out to Disneyland, it hasn't been magical like it usually is because it's overcrowded. It's too.
So when you automatically have that mindset and you're going to go in there saying it's crowded, it's expensive, it's this, it's that, you're not going to feel the magic. You kind of still have to take yourself to a place that brings back those memories to say, you know what, I'm still out here to have a good time. Yeah, it could be stressful. Yeah, it's a pain in the ass that you have to be on your phone, you know, that you didn't have to. But honestly, that just doesn't stop with Disney. We are in that time era where technology is starting to reign. You have to pretty much use some sort of electronic device for something. So I get it. I completely. But if you have that mindset that you're going to be miserable, you're going to be miserable, and it's going to affect your experience at these parks.
Well, I think also, and I don't know PCDev's like park routine or whatever. I'm not really even saying about him necessarily, you know.
I'm sorry. Let me clear that. And I don't mean just him. I mean like anybody that goes in with that mindset. That's what you're going to have.
Exactly. But like one of my things, I've been saying it for years now, is this annual pass kind of culture where people go multiple times a week. And that's why I mentioned, I don't know his park going habits. So this isn't about PCDev at all. But when people go that often anywhere, the shine wears off. It becomes less special. And you start to nitpick and complain more, right? So for example, when I went to Walt Disney World for the first time ever in July, I even told you, I had a fantastic time and the monorails seemed fine to me. I didn't see a lot of the problems that a lot of the locals seem to find. Well, there's a reason for that. I'm new to it. So my perception of this place is with fresh eyes, and you become kind of overwhelmed with the newness. But when you go 3 and 4 days a week, you start to get bored. And when you start to get bored, you start to look for things because you're bored. It happens here in California. I see the locals going all the time, and then you start to see the complaining. Oh, look at that light bulb. Oh, look at that scratch and that dent and that chip paint. Tourists who go once every 20 years don't do that. Okay. So there is a culture, I think, with these pass holders that they just, and you can do whatever you want. I'm not saying, hey, look, you want to go 7 days a week. It's up to you.
But you're just stating a fact of what happens.
Right. I'm just saying, just be prepared for that, because when you go anywhere all the time, it's going to become less of a special thing. Look, I love cheesecake. Okay. But if I had cheesecake three times a day, it's going to start to become less special than if you make it a treat every now and then. And
Speak
basically
for yourself.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Too expensive. You buy Disney Genie Plus, which is their premium service, which, by the way, Disney increased the price of Disney Genie Plus. Once again, I just don't get it.
And you know what? They should. I think they should increase the price dramatically.
Yes, because here's the thing. And again, Dev, I love you, brother. Yeah, I'm a huge fan. If you're watching, I hope you are. If you decide to come on, let's talk. We'll talk. But I have to say, I do, because this is the problem. If Genie Plus is so cheap, it's going to cannibalize the line, and that's why it gets so much more backed up than the regular standby line.
Too many people are in the system.
Yeah.
I think is what you're saying. There's too many people in the system. The $30 thing is just cheap enough where it overcrowds it. That's why the Universal, look, I'll give credit to Universal. The Express thing that they have works better because it's not so cheap. It's much more expensive, so less people are in that system. So when you actually buy into it, the lines are shorter.
And I have to add, now I don't know if they changed it, but from the last time when I went to Universal, they gave us the option for the Express Pass. Velocicoaster and Hagrid's was not part of that. You still had to wait in the standby line. So again, you could still pay for that pass, for the Express Pass, but you're still not getting everything.
Right.
So,
right.
So, but I agree with you. Honestly, people are probably going to have a coronary after they hear me say this. That $30, I say double it.
Oh, easy. I would just do the Universal thing. I would charge. I think they charge like 150 or something like that. I'm not sure exactly, but it's a big amount. But you get it for all the attractions or selective ones, I guess, right? But it's across the board, and less people buy into it because it's pricier. I think Disney should just do that. I don't know why they don't.
Or what if they did something to the notion of where it's like you have the option to pay for the Genie Plus if you stay on property,
right?
Because that way, if you're not, it entices you to stay on property. You pay for that hotel, and then it cuts down the amount of times just for locals.
Oh yeah,
then they could just go into the regular standby line because it would balance out.
It would balance out 100%.
Come on, Disney, give us a call.
I don't understand. It has to stop. When is it going to stop? How much further will Disney take?
See, it's not going to stop because I showed you a video that I made a year ago, right? And that video showed tweets from a decade ago about price hikes. It's never going to stop. This is a corporation. There's always going to be price hikes.
Yeah, it's everywhere. It's
everywhere.
It's not just Disney.
Yeah, it's always going to be the case. It always has been the case. I've been in this community. I've been online talking about Disney for 20 plus years. I can tell you right now, this price hike thing has been a point of discussion for 20 plus years. It's not going anywhere. The prices will continue to go up.
These prices. And I do apologize if I sounded angry because I actually am. I really am, because I moved down here to Orlando to be close to Disney. At the time, it wasn't Universal. It wasn't nothing else other than Disney. I fell in love with the brand of Disney. I worked at Disney. I wanted to make magic for Disney, but it's just a different experience. It really is. It's not the same. It's not how it used to be. And I know a lot of you agree with me when it comes to it's not what it used to be, because I read my comments and I do these videos for you guys, the people who want their voice heard. We want to reach Disney, to tell Disney enough is enough. Change this. Walt would not be proud of this. He would not be proud. And that's why I'm Team Universal, because when I go to Universal, it's a seamless experience. I don't have to worry about being on my phone. I don't have to worry about making this reservation or changing that reservation.
I respectfully disagree. I don't know how it is in Orlando, but we had to make reservations for that Toad Cafe or Super Nintendo World. You couldn't just walk up. It was the same BS that Disney makes you do, and it sells out like that. If you don't get on there right away, it sells out real quick. So there was reservations and all that other stuff too. Now it's different than Disney, but it's these elements are still there. It's not 100% seamless across the board. Universal has its issues. I recently went to Knott's with our good friend Theme Park Casual, and there were issues at Knott's. You know, I mean, we would get to the park, and a lot of the restaurants, I think all of them actually, didn't open with the park. They open an hour after park opens. Now, people rail against Disney for that. It's happening at Knott's. I mean, this stuff happens at all these places, Universal included. It's not, in my opinion, Universal is not a seamless thing. Now, look, to be fair, there are things that Universal does do better. I will say that, absolutely. And there are things that are not so good, you know, and same with Disney. But 100% seamless, it's all good. I don't know. I respectfully disagree.
Reservation. If I want to buy Express, it's a one-time charge. I get to ride whatever I want. Or if I don't want Express, you know what? They have standby queues open where if I want to, I can go wait 150 minutes for this ride. But you know what? At least I'm getting on. And you know what else? At least rides don't constantly break down at Universal like they do at the Disney parks.
Now, that's interesting. I don't know how it is over there in Disney World necessarily, but Disneyland Resort, we have issues with certain attractions. Like Radiator Springs Racers is down all the fucking time.
Right, correct.
It drives me nuts. Now, in Florida, when we were there, did we hit that problem I don't think we hit that issue very often, though, did we?
It does occur. I think at the time when we went, I don't think there was any issues. I do know Test Track can go down for some time. Then there was a couple times where I think Big Thunder, Pirates, and I think Haunted was down all at once. But I think like something happened, like I guess like with electricity because they were all on the same grid or something. As far as Universal Orlando goes, I'm trying to recall. I don't recall any breakdowns of any kind. But then again, I don't go as often. To Universal. So if you make it a constant thing in your everyday schedule to make it your business to go to Disney more than Universal, then yeah, you're going to say things break down more at Disney than Universal because you don't see it as often.
Right. That's a fair point. Fair point.
I think I'm going to stop here, and trust me, I could continue on with this little rant, but I've said what I wanted to say. I know this may upset a few people. I don't know what to tell you.
Hey, look, here, PCDev, I want to say this. You know, this video might upset a few people, but you know what? This is my opinion, and because I upset a lot of people in my videos too. So George and I both do. We upset people, right? You know you're making good content when you upset people. It's always good.
People are watching. They're listening.
Right. Well, people are watching, and it's always good to have an opinion. And anytime you have an opinion, you're going to upset somebody. If you're not upsetting someone, if you have a YouTube channel or you create content where you're voicing your opinion and you're not upsetting somebody, then you're doing something wrong. So PCDev, keep doing great work. We are big fans of yours over here at OG55. Fantastic video. Yeah, we may disagree on things here,
but we're not upset with you. You know,
of course not.
We respectfully agree to disagree on certain things.
Yeah,
we do agree, and as OG said, we're huge fans. I've been watching you for some time. You know, I'll continue to keep watching your videos. As OG said, keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
If you ever would love to come on, trust me, I'd jump at the chance to have you on as a special guest. We could talk. Yeah. You know,
you're always welcome on, dude. Yeah. You're always welcome on. But yeah, fantastic video from PCDev. Like I said, we're gonna link it down below, so you can definitely check it out. You can watch it without the interruptions and all that. So, and subscribe to him, obviously. But this is what I love about doing these videos, these reaction videos, is that as Disney fans, we can kind of get in there and kind of have these conversations. Hey, we may not always agree, right? And there's nothing wrong with not always agreeing. I mean, there's nothing wrong with not always agreeing. Yeah. But at the end of the day, we all have a love for this thing, right? I love this company. George loves this company. PCDev loves this company. We all have that common passion. And all we want is a better product at the end of the day. And we'll voice our opinions. Hopefully we'll vote with our wallets, you know, as fans. And, you know, we'll see how it is. But George, I want to thank you, brother, for coming on and kind of breaking down this video. I thought it was a lot of fun.
It was great. It was a very interesting video, and a very interesting recording from watching the video. You know, it was great. Again, another shout out to PCDev. Huge fan. Love your work. Definitely come on the channel if you'd love to talk more with us on any kind of in-depth, subject matter or topics.
Yeah, Brent,
and also a shout out to our very good friend Mr. Jay Shear of Story Geeks, because he was the one that kind of gave us the inspiration to do this video. So shout out to Jay.
Yeah, Jay Shear, host of the Story Geek Show on the channel, reached out to us and said, "Hey, you guys should do a reaction video on this." I was not aware of the video at that time, and so I checked it out. I thought the video was fantastic, and here we are. So yeah, big shout out to Jay Shear for the idea to do the video. We love Jay. He's family here on the channel, obviously. And hey, if you're a big fan of Ahsoka, we just broke down every episode of Ahsoka on his show. Fantastic series. Check it out here on OG 55. Now, George, we're gonna close it out. I'm gonna ask where they can find you on social media. But what clip should we play at the end? What are we feeling? Carlos Jr., drunk Chewie. What are we doing today? K-pop, I got a crush on you. What are we dropping at the end of this thing?
I think since for the topic that we were kind of talking about, like with Marvel and Star Wars, I think we got to give Chewie some love. We'll give Chewie some love. Are you sure we shouldn't drop this one since we were talking Universal?
Man, I wouldn't trust that bitch. Nope.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Yeah. We love Universal. Well, I'm just kidding. So we will drop the Chewie. But George, if you could let everybody at home know where they can find you on social media, sir.
Absolutely. You can find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Disney George. You could also check me out on the podcast called A Walk with Walt. And of course, you'll find me here on my home base at Orange Grove 55 with Citrus Corner, with all that sweet, juicy, but sometimes sticky Disney news and info. And also, speaking of Story Geeks with Jay, we will also be recording soon our in-depth topic of Pixar and the evolution and the revolution of the little company that could or couldn't, however you want to see it, and how it made its layers on through the decades and where it is now, where it's going, and where it started from. So definitely check that out. We're actually recording that on the Disney 100th anniversary day, October 16th. So
it's gonna be fantastic. It'll be myself, George, obviously host Jay Shear, and we'll be joined again by Evan. He was on the finale episode of Ahsoka that we did. Evan's fantastic, friend of the channel. He's been a friend of mine on Twitter for years, a long time. And we had him on the channel finally, and he was really, really good. And we're going to have him on again to talk some Pixar. So it's going to be a really, really fun show. But thank everybody for watching. I want to thank PCDev once more for a fantastic video. Brother, thank you so much for all that you do. Everyone comment down below with all your thoughts on the video, on price hikes, Disney, Universal, all of it. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, have a wonderful, wonderful day.